My dear Raven, will you please sit down and relax? Pacing back and forth like a caged tigress is not going to bring the maid back into this house.
Well, I just can't believe that Bobbie Gerard. She quits her job. She's only been here 2 days. She leaves town. I mean, it's insulting.
Perhaps she got a better offer.
No job could be better than working here.
Then maybe she just couldn't deal with the histrionics in this house.
Oh, the girl ran away because she was caught red-handed stealing my watch. She realized that the stories that she was telling about having it repaired weren't going to work, and she took off. That's all there is to it.
Well, I think there's more to it than just this big fuss over a stupid old watch.
That stupid old watch, as you call it, has been in this family for years.
Sorry.
Actually, I don't suppose it has very much intrinsic value. Oh, perhaps it would bring maybe $2,000 from a dedicated collector, but no more, really.
Oh, she's an ignorant child, Geraldine. She probably thought she'd get $10,000 for it. You really know how to pick them, don't you?
Don't bring that up again. Look at it.
Where's Spencer?
I don't know. I think he went to put the car away. Calvin Stoner.
Mrs. Whitney?
Come in.
Thank you. Forgive the intrusion, Mr. Whitney, Mrs. Saxon.
There is just no getting away from the people in your department, is there, Detective? Would you like to tell me what the attraction my house has for the members of your department? I can't even spend a quiet night here alone without one of you scratching at my door.
Scott, please. Mr. Stoner is a guest here.
An uninvited guest, Geraldine.
Please forgive the intrusion. I'll only take up a few moments of your time. I called earlier and asked to speak to Bobbie Gerard. I was informed that she is no longer in your employ and has indeed left town. Is that true?
Yes, I'm sorry to say it is true, but I don't understand why the police would be interested.
Maybe it has to do with the missing...
I don't believe we're going to need your help, Detective Stoner. Thanks all the same.
I'm sorry to be so insistent about this matter. Actually, it's not official business. It's more of a personal matter.
Well, you know, Detective, I couldn't care less about your personal matters.
Mr. Whitney, it is important that I speak to Bobbie Gerard. I was hoping that you might give me some assistance.
Oh, well, I don't see any way in which that would be possible.
Schuyler, please. I see no reason for such calculated rudeness. Mr. Stoner, Bobbie Gerard left this note. Now, I'm sure there's very little in here that we haven't told you already, but I see no harm in reading it for yourself.
Oh, thank you, Mrs. Saxon. Oh, it certainly is Bobbie's handwriting. I've seen it a dozen times at Sid's Tavern. So it's true. She really has left town.
Between the two of you, you'll wear out the carpet by midnight.
It has been a very disturbing evening. First Bobbie leaves, then Calvin Stoner arrives.
Calvin Stoner was just looking for some information. It seemed perfectly harmless to me.
No, it wasn't harmless, Geraldine, not with that police crew involved. When they start snooping around, there's trouble, even if they have to create it themselves.
Oh, Schuyler, that's an exaggeration.
No, it isn't, Geraldine. Not with Derek Mallory's police force. Now, I don't want to give them any more reason for bothering this family. I've seen quite enough of them in the recent past already.
I think you should just relax and have a little scotch and forget about it.
I don't want to relax and have a little scotch. And the only thing I want to forget about is Bobbie, our ex-maid, and my old pocket watch.
You want to forget about the watch? Well, thanks a lot. That's a real nice way to treat my wedding present to you.
Well, let me remind you that you got it from Geraldine.
Ingrate.
Now, please, will you stop bickering? In the final sum of things, I'm afraid I'm going to side with Schuyler on this. I think it's best not to have the police involved. Hanging around here trying to track down that poor girl. No, I have the feeling that she's in enough trouble already.
Uh-huh. See? Reasonable, practical, intelligent, and Geraldine.
Handle on this thing. First, Bobbie finds out something that might help Gab, and then for no apparent reason, she writes a letter of resignation to the Whitneys, quits her job, and leaves town. Why? Why would she leave town without letting anybody know? The way you go home, tired, and I want to go to bed. Yes, Stoner. Yeah, I'll be right there.
I'm so tired. I think we should follow Geraldine's advice and go to bed.
Oh, I'm not tired yet.
And I also think you're wrong. I mean, if you think that Bobbie Gerard stole your watch and ran away to avoid the consequences, I think you should tell the police.
I sure as hell won't do that.
Maybe I will.
Oh, really? Oh, the hopes maybe of seeing your beefcake detective Tyler friend? Well, I've got news for you. You won't run into him. He's been suspended indefinitely.
Well, then maybe I'll tell Calvin Stoner. Or maybe even Derek Mallory.
You'll do nothing of the kind. You'll do as I say, you understand that?
All right.
The subject is closed.
The subject is closed. I don't know what I'm going to do now, though. I have to hire a new maid.
Chief Mallory.
It's Stoner, Chief. Look, I'm sorry to track you down like this, but I've got something I think you want to know about now.
Well, what is it?
I'm in the morgue. They just brought in the body of Bobbie Gerard. Chief, she's been murdered.
Need any more grief around here? I'm sitting here thinking about Bobbie and what she did.
Well, I still don't think that she's the thief Schuyler thought she was.
Well, she's gone, and so is his beautiful watch. The watch I gave him, or I should say you gave me to give to him, but nevertheless, the watch is gone, and I'm afraid so is Bobbie Gerard.
Hold tight, Sid.
Oh, dear God.
Of course, I recognized her, but the police have to have her civilian identification.
Poor Bobbie. My poor Bob.
Excuse me, Mrs. Whitney. I just wanted you to know that I returned and that Mr. Whitney and I dropped by the employment office as we went downtown. He asked me to tell you not to worry anymore about the domestic situation. Everything will be taken care of.
I'm delighted to hear it.
Has he hired anyone as yet, Spencer?
I don't think so, Mrs. Saxon. I believe the agency people are going to work on it now.
Did you get that, Spencer?
Yes. The Whitney residence? I'm sorry, would you repeat that, please?
I said, as Detective Calvin Stoner, is Mr. or Mrs. Whitney at home?
It's someone from the police department, Mrs. Whitney.
Is it Mr. Tyler?
No, a Detective Stoner.
Huh. Hello, Calvin. What can I do for you? Another policeman's ball.
Not so happy an occasion, I'm afraid. Look, Raven, would it be okay if I stopped over and spoke with you this morning?
For what reason?
Well, I need to speak with you about your former employee, Bobbie Gerard.
So you know?
Know what?
Well, what did you want to speak to me about?
Raven, Bobbie's dead. Somebody bashed her in the head and dumped her in the woods last night.
Oh, my God.
Raven, what is it?
Of course you can come over. I don't believe it. Okay, I'll see you soon. Bye-bye. My God, she's dead.
Surely you don't mean Bobbie.
Yes, Bobbie. They just found her body. Schuyler is going to be so upset he didn't even want them to know that she took the watch. But now it's sort of inevitable that we have to tell them, isn't it? Herself at that place she was working.
It's called Sid's Tavern.
Yeah, well, anyway, I mean, it was just impulsive. I was at the right place at the right time.
Yeah, I see.
Calvin, can't you tell us what happened? Why was that girl so brutally murdered?
That's precisely what we're trying to determine, Mrs. Saxon.
Well, we certainly know nothing about it.
Well, you must know something about Bobbie. I mean, after all, she worked here.
Just one day, Detective. That's all. In my opinion, one day too much.
Oh? Now, what does that mean?
I'm sorry, it's not my place to say.
Oh, no, no. Please don't stand on ceremony, Mr. Varney. I mean, this is police business. Now, what do you think was so bad about Bobbie Gerard's working here?
She was a thief.
Excuse me, but that has not been proven as yet.
I found her the very first day she came here in Mr. Whitney's bedroom examining a watch of his.
A watch?
Yes, she dropped it when she saw him. He broke it.
That does not mean that she was trying to steal it, Spencer. Perhaps she was just looking at it.
Oh, wait a second. Is this the antique pocket watch that plays the little tune?
Yes, that's right. And then she was caught walking out the door with it, trying to get it repaired.
That was her story, at least.
I, for one, believe it.
Mm-hmm. When was the last time any of you actually saw Bobbie Gerard?
I think I was the last one to see her in this house.
Oh, what time was that?
At 1:30 yesterday afternoon. She'd been in here making phone calls.
Oh, do you know to whom?
Yes, I do. She was trying to call a jeweler, the place where Schuyler bought this watch.
Why?
Because Schuyler had had his watch repaired there once before, and I wanted to get it repaired before he came back.
Did you tell Bobbie to go to the jeweler with the watch?
No, I didn't. I was going to go myself, but I don't know. I forgot, and I went to the beauty parlor, and I was there all day, and I was exhausted.
Oh, wait a minute now. Where's the watch now? Does your husband have it?
No, it's gone.
Gone? You implying that Bobbie took it?
Look, my husband really doesn't want me to talk about it.
Why not?
Because he doesn't want to make a fuss about it.
Oh, I see. Oh, that is very nice of him. By the way, may I have the note that Bobbie left?
Yes, sir.
Can't you give us any further information at all?
Mr. Saxon, all we know is somebody took Bobbie out into the woods and hit her over the head with what we presume to be a tire iron.
Good Lord.
May I ask about the watch, Detective? Was it found on the body?
No, there was no watch found.
Well, then it was a robbery. I mean, that's a perfect explanation. Watch. It was the only present that I gave to my husband for the wedding, and it was in your family for years and years, and I feel terrible about it.
Well, there's very little you can do about it now, my dear.
I just thought of something. You know, I've been going crazy trying to think of a Christmas present for Schuyler. Well, how about a beautiful old watch to take the place of the one that he lost?
That sounds like a very good idea.
That's a wonderful idea. Now, all I need is that list that Bobbie made of all the antique dealers.
Perhaps she didn't make a list.
No, I know she made a list. I was sitting here with her when she did it. We wanted to find the name of the dealer where Schuyler had his watch fixed.
Ah. Well, here's something. There's a name circled there. I can't see it without my glasses.
Hoffman Antique Jewelers. That must be it. I think that I shall go pay a little visit to this jewelry store this morning.
5. Yes, I'll be open during lunch. I always eat my lunch right here in Hoffman's Antique Jewelry Shop and Restaurant.
I see. I would like to know if you have any antique gold watches.
One of the finest lines in the city. Just yesterday, I received a beautiful old repeater from Brussels.
Do you have any with music box movements?
Well, that sort of thing is very rare. I had a couple, but they're gone.
Well, tell you what, I'll just come and look. By the way, my name is Mrs. Whitney.
Whitney? Ah, yes. Your husband must be quite a collector.
I beg your pardon?
Primrose Avenue, the second building from the corner.
Well, all right. Look, I'll be there in an hour. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Bye-bye. Collector? Of what?
I have the car out front, Mrs. Whitney.
Oh, good. Spencer, it's a secret where I'm going, okay?
Secret?
Oh, don't worry. It's not a rendezvous or anything. I mean, I'm just going to get a Christmas present for my husband.
Oh, I understand.
Okay. Get that, will you, Spencer?
Yes, ma'am. Whitney residence.
Yeah, this is Mr. Whitney, Spencer. I'm still at my attorney's office, but I don't think I'm going to be here much longer. They've bled me for just about every drop of blood that they can. So why don't you pick me up in, about a half hour or so?
Mrs. Whitney just asked me to drive her someplace, sir. Shall I call her to the phone? Maybe we can pick you up.
Oh, she's going shopping, huh?
I believe so, sir.
Well, no, listen, she just dragged me into every shop in town. Why don't you just take her where she wants to go, and I'll call a cab.
Yes, sir.
Oh, Spencer.
Yes.
I was speaking with Mrs. Saxon earlier. And she told me that Detective Stoner had stopped by with the terrible news about Bobbie.
Yes, sir. He was here.
Well, that really is quite a shock. Have there been any other calls from the police?
No, sir. Nothing at all.
Oh, well, that's a relief. We've certainly had enough to do with the police of late. Listen, I'll give you a call if I need you, Spencer.
Very good, sir.
Death was caused by a severe blow to the head. It's as simple as that.
Simple as that, huh?
Well, actually, there was more than one blow. Looked like 3, but any one of them could have done it. Either her killer was a sadist, or he wanted to be absolutely sure of Bobbie Gerard's death.
I'll tell you what I think. I think this was some kind of a crude execution.
Well, you know more about those things than I do. I wouldn't say it was any kind of a gangland execution.
No, a professional wouldn't have been this messy. And you think the murder weapon may have been a tire iron, huh?
Well, the wounds indicated it was a sharp-edged object, almost certainly metal. That was just a logical guess.
I think you're right on the money. I got back this lab analysis of particles taken from her scalp. They seem to agree with you, so apparently her assailant just drove her out to the spot, just did it right down there.
And without a struggle. There were no other signs, no other bruises, contusions, no broken fingernails, nothing else.
Hit from behind, she probably had no idea what was going to happen.
Hit from behind, that's what the wounds indicated, yes.
Anybody home? Hello? Meeting you here like this, Bobbie, isn't it?
Not really. Your wife asked me to come down here.
Did she?
Yes, she wanted to have your watch fixed as soon as possible, so she asked me to find the name of the place where you bought her watch from.
Well, that was very thoughtful of her. And very thoughtful of you to go to all this trouble.
It's no trouble, really. I mean, it was my fault it got broken.
Tell me, did my wife come up with the name of this shop, or did you figure that out yourself?
No, I did. I just called all the antique jewelers in the book till I found Mr. Hoffman.
Oh, that's genius. You know, you really ought to be a police detective, not just a housemaid. May I have it?
Yeah, sure.
Are you sure it's fixed?
Yeah, it's working.
Did you hear the little tune that it plays? Pretty little tune, isn't it?
Yeah, it's very pretty.
Well, the least I can do to show my appreciation for all you've done for me is to offer you a lift home. The car's right over here.
I don't think so.
Oh, don't be ridiculous, Bobbie. We're both going to the same place, aren't we?
Isn't Spencer...
No. As a matter of fact, Spencer isn't. It was such a lovely evening, I decided to drive myself.
Poor Bobbie. And they found you so soon. So very, very soon. Well, it doesn't matter. I didn't leave any evidence. Oh, no, of that I'm sure. No evidence at all.
Mr. Hoffman?
Yes, and you must be Mrs. Whitney.
Yes, I am.
Even if I didn't know you were coming, I would know who you were.
Oh, yes, well, I do have my picture in the newspaper now and then.
No, I would have known you for this. I know all my little watches, even after they leave home.
Oh, yes, of course.
I remember the day your husband bought it for you. May I look at it for a moment?
Well, certainly. Here you go. I suppose you also remember fixing my husband's watch the same day that he bought that.
Fixing? Yes. I remember fixing his watch, but not on that day.
Oh, no, I'm sure it was. He said that it was.
No, he's a little mixed up. If I fixed his watch on the day he bought this, I would remember it. There's one thing about me, Mrs. Whitney. I never forget a face.
I should feel flattered having the big chief of police come here to bother me with questions, but somehow I don't feel that way.
I'm sorry. I don't mean to bother you, but I do have a question or two.
Well, I thought it was Detective Stoner's case. I mean, you did want to talk about my ex-maid, Bobbie, isn't that right?
Yeah, Stoner's the man, all right, only he's told me he's had some trouble getting a hold of you.
Well, excuse me, Chief, if I have got other things to do with my time than wait around for the police to bother me with questions.
You know, I got statements from everybody in this household, except you.
Well, I imagine that I am the person in this household who knows the least about her. I mean, I didn't really know the girl. I didn't hire her. And, I probably only saw her twice when she was working for me. I don't know very much about her.
Well, maybe you could, just start off by telling me, when was the last of those two occasions?
Well, I imagine it was the morning that she decided to leave. I left the house early that morning myself.
And didn't return until later that evening?
Well, no, as a matter of fact, I came back early in the afternoon. You can check that statement if you like.
It's all right, I already have.
Well, Chief, I don't know what else I can tell you. You see that I know so very little about it.
You do know that she took your watch?
Yes, unfortunately. However, there's not much I can do about that, especially considering that the man who murdered her probably has got the watch now. Oh, a bit of advice, Chief. If you really want to get this killer, I would suggest that you look for a man with a watch pocket in his vest.
So you don't have any that have a little music box, huh?
No, Mrs. Whitney, nothing. But here, this is the closest to the one I sold to your husband.
Well, it certainly looks similar, but I think you're wrong. You didn't sell it to him. See, I gave it to him.
I sold it to him with a music box movement. I even put his initials inside the case.
Well, no, I'm sorry, but you're mistaken. See, I gave it to him as a wedding gift.
No, I sold it. I have it right here in the record book. It was made by the same company that made this.
But why would he buy a second watch and not tell me?
I wouldn't know.
Well, I guess if he already has one, I better wait, huh?
Oh, well, I guess I lost that sale, didn't I? My wife told me I always talk too much.
I'm sorry, but, well, thank you anyway. Thank you very much.
You're welcome. At least I have the evening paper for free.